Okay, good morning, folks. So, um, I need to. It's been a while since I published anything on the channel regarding the home orchard, and I'd be remiss if I didn't, post information or videos about, chronicling not only my successes but also my failures. And I have to be honest that my attempt at beehive, at raising hot bees and stuff like that, this failed. What you're looking at here is an empty nest or an empty beehive colony. My colony collapsed. I think it was probably in November of last year, and what I think happened is that a yellow jacket hornet's nest nearby had discovered the presence of the bees and they just sent out raiders, and that coupled with with the fact that you had robber bees also attacking the colony. I think most likely what happened was the yellow jackets actually managed to kill the queen and take her away and feed her to their young, I should say. So I've decided that, given my experience that I've had this past year with raising bees, that for now I'm not going to attempt to raise another colony. I'm just going to go ahead and dismantle the hive, expose it out, and basically, let it cool down. And I'm going to put both hives in storage and take apart that assembly that you see there that's holding it in place. So this is not something that I wanted to do, but sometimes life, throws you a curveball or gives you lemons, and when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. You make the best of the situation. And the truth is that there are bees. There are wild bees around here. Clearly, it's because I had continual problems with honeybee raiders. Other colonies raiding my colony. So there are multiple colonies around here somewhere. So for now, I'm just going to rely on those guys to come into my garden and pollinate my trees or pollinate my flowers. I'm going to disassemble this stuff later, and I'll make a video of me taking it apart and inspecting the contents, and I'll record the contents so everyone can see it. For now, I wanted to basically highlight a problem that I have in Zone 9. You may recall from several other videos that I've made that one of the problems with living in Zone 9 is that it doesn't get cold enough to have these high chill value deciduous fruit trees produce reliably every year, but it gets cold enough so that it can actually kill subtropical trees. You see there's a raider, actually there's a honeybee raider coming in there. You can see him there. He's actually, maybe I can zoom in on him. He's near the entrance. It's a cold morning, so they're just getting active now. But that's not a bee. That's actually a part of this colony. This is a raider. He's looking for food. They're looking for leftover honey. So anyway, as I was saying, back to what I was saying is, it gets cold enough in my area where some of the subtropicals that I have planted can suffer frost damage, and that's what happened to me a few weeks ago during the big winter storms that hit the Midwest and the Northeast earlier this February 2022. It got unusually cold down here for 2 days. We were below freezing, and so I walked outside at night and I could see ice build up on my car, frost ice on the ground, on the trees and everything, and so it damaged a number of my fruit trees, the subtropicals. Let me go ahead and move this over. I'm gonna take the camera off the tripod. Yeah, let me just take it off the tripod. It'd be easier. And I'll walk it over to where I want to demonstrate the damaged trees. Yes. There. Okay. There we are. So let's go over to the mango tree so you can see what happened to those trees. And this is very, very disappointing. Because mangoes is one of the best fruits to grow in subtropical climates like Florida, because it's a very sweet, very good fruit, and it's so, it has so few disease and pests that you have to worry about compared to other things like citrus and other fruit trees in the Rosaceae family. But you can see this right here. Let me get off the. This is a gosh, I forgot the name of this mango. This tree is, I forgot the name. It's an Indian variety that's very, very famous. Let me see if I have a sticker on the tree still attached. It'll tell me what it is. I can remember the name here. But you can see that it's actually, these were the panicles. These were the fruit, the flowers of the mango. They got damaged during the frost. You can see they're burned, freezer burned, I guess is what you would call it. This tree is not going to produce fruit this year. It's not a very high producer anyway. Even in the best of years, it doesn't produce a lot. It's going to be even worse this year. I don't expect to get anything out of it. This is unfortunate, to be honest. I forgot the name of this mango. If I could just remember. Gosh. They call it the king of mangoes in India. Hold on, let me see if I can... there's a sticker. There's a yellow sticker. Alfonso. There it is. That's the Alfonso. That came off that tree. This is the Alfonso mango. The famous Alfonso from India. And you can tell that the panicles are damaged. There's no way this tree is going to produce anything. And this is in spite of the fact that it's on that wall. Right, I planted it near a wall. Let me just turn around here so you can see. I planted it near this wall here. It's supposed to get sun during the day and heat up and provide. And I think it might have worked because you can see that the branches are not dead. Just the flowers and the panicles are pretty much damaged, but the actual branches are okay. The Glen mango, however, was not too much affected by it, but that's not really a surprise. Because the Glen mango was known, one of the ideal qualities about the Glen mango, those are panicles for the Glen mango tree. You can see they're pretty much in healthy condition. The Glen mango is considered one of the more cold tolerant of the mangoes. Not to say that it won't get damaged. This tree has been damaged in the past. When I had it in another part of the garden that was not sheltered. And it was about, I think it was 2014. When we had that, 2014 or 2015, when we had that polar vortex over the Midwest of the United States, come down and just stay, stagnant over the continental U.S. We had some really cold temperatures that year. I mean, we're talking 19, 18 degrees Fahrenheit. It was way below zero. And this tree, this Glen mango, did suffer some dieback. I had to prune it back pretty hard that year. So it can get damaged, but it was like 30 degrees, 29 degrees a couple days, about a week or two ago. And you can see that it didn't damage the tree. It didn't even damage the panicles, surprisingly. So if you're in a borderline climate where you might just be able to get away with growing mangoes, go with the Glen, spelled Glenn. It's a good producer, it's a good fruit, almost no fiber to it. It's a reliable producer, and it is pretty cold tolerant, actually, in my opinion, for as far as mangoes go. So this one that you see back here in this little guy, this is the, I forgot this name, Kent. This is the Kent mango. I grew up with the large Kent mango tree in my front yard down in South Florida. It was a really good producer every year. It produced really big mangoes and lots of them. So this was one of my favorite trees, actually. I need to do something to prop it up so it doesn't bend over like that. I'll take care of that later this year, probably later this week. So that's another. Yeah, this tree right here. This is the guanabana. This thing got hammered. I'm pretty sure you can see that it's completely bone dry. It had leaves and stuff, That cold spell just really ruined this tree, really hurt it really bad. So I don't know if this tree is going to survive in this environment. We'll see. We will see. This is a Phoenix mango here. You can see it's, sorry about the light, the sunlight. This is a Phoenix mango. You can see there's some, I know that there's some damage to the panicles, but not a whole lot actually, comparatively speaking. So yeah, the Alfonso is a big problem if you don't live in really, really warm climates. This is one of the panicles of the Glen. Look at how it is. It almost completely undamaged. That's remarkable. Okay, moving on. I'm going to take you to where the avocado trees are. What's that avocado? The Brogdon, which is my favorite. We're going to go visit the Brogdon. By the way, the citrus trees, they were unfazed by that weather. Citrus can tolerate mildly cold, below freezing temperatures, slightly below freezing for short periods of time without any problems. I've never had any problems with my citrus tree. Yeah, you might lose some flowers, but you don't get any branch dieback or anything like that, unless it's for extended periods. So let's go to let me put it back on the tripod because I hate carrying this by hand. And you can see that the cold weather even damaged some of the apples. This is a crab apple that I have here. That cold weather killed these leaves. Yeah. She went somewhat dormant. It also killed these blossoms. See that? Those are blossoms that it dried out and froze and damaged. Yeah, it did some damage, all right. So let's go ahead and put this back on the tripod, and we'll go visit the Brogdon avocado. All right. So yeah, I'm not keen on the problems I've had with the honeybees. They're hard, man. They're hard to keep, honestly, because everything in the world, every insect, everything in the world is out to kill the honeybees and eat them. They're food for everything. Birds, wasps, other honeybees. It's just a disaster. Hey, buddy. Oh yeah, another thing. This is what the cold weather will do to your bananas. This is a problem I've had too. I forgot to mention that. These are my banana trees. This that you see up here, the really damaged big ones, that is the burro banana that from my neighbor's yard. And this happened also during 2014. 2014, 2015, that polar vortex year. These trees actually got hammered back really hard that year, and I thought they were going to die, but you know what? They came back. I'm surprised they actually came back. And it's the same with my ice cream bananas. My blue java. You can see those small ones there. Those are my blue javas. Let me get it off the tripod here. It's just easier to handle. So those are the blue javas. You can see that they also got damaged. Yeah, they got damaged. They got freezer burned. So hopefully they won't die on me and they'll recover and put out new leaves. But there's no crop. I don't think there's going to be a crop this year on any of these trees. We'll see. But look at the Brogdon, actually. She did okay. Maybe that's because the flowers haven't completely opened yet. You can see these are the mango flowers. They're still closed. They're starting to open now. A few are open. But during the freeze, they were closed, and the Brogdon basically had no damage at all. Last year, this Brogdon did not flower much at all. It had very little fruit. So what I think is happening is because I am not thinning the tree correctly or effectively, she has become a biannual producer. So she'll produce every other year. She produces a lot one year and then takes a rest the following year and then produces again the year after that. I think that's what's happening with the Brogdon. It's okay. I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm just a hobbyist gardener. I don't do this for a living. I'm not trying to raise a crop to sell in the market or anything like that. That's not my objective. So you can see there that there's quite a few flowers on this tree, and even if 50% of them actually become pollinated and set fruit, you're talking about a large number of avocados. So this is a really good producer. I'm really happy with this avocado tree, and I happen to like avocados, so I'm a big fan of the avocado fruit. And yes, it is a fruit. It's actually considered a berry. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. And what else do we have here? This is another avocado. It's a different variety. This has yet to produce fruit. I don't understand what's going on with this tree. She doesn't really do much. She grows like crazy but doesn't produce fruit. I don't understand her. She's a heavy grower, very, very prolific grower, but just doesn't do anything. I don't know, maybe I goofed. She came as a split, right? If you see down in the bottom, I pruned this tree years ago. There was a branch coming out of the side here. Let me see if I can get in there. That was a branch at one time that actually produced fruit, and I thought it was a side branch that was insignificant, right? I didn't think it was actually the branch that actually, I didn't think it was the main variety. This is a day avocado, by the way. The tag is still on it. You can see the tag. I kept the tag on it, thank goodness. This is why having tags is useful. You can remember what you have. So my fear is that when I cut that branch off, thinking that it was interfering with the growth of the tree, that maybe I actually cut off the grafted variety I wanted and have let the rootstock, which is with the big tree you see growing here, the one I left that one growing. So I think I might have made a mistake here. I don't know. But they didn't tell me. They didn't label it and say. Normally, when you buy it from the nursery, they're supposed to remove the graft branches and only leave you the fruit branches you want. So I didn't know that because it wasn't labeled as such. So I cut off what I thought was a problem branch that was getting in the way of the rest of the tree, and I think maybe I cut off the wrong one. So we'll have to wait and see if this produces anything at all. If nothing else, it might become a pollinator for the Brogden. Although the fact that it hasn't pollinated yet, and it hasn't produced yet, this particular branch hasn't produced yet, and it's been many, 5 or 6 years now since I've had this tree in the ground. I would have expected it to produce now if it had been the grafted variety, but if it had been the rootstock, then no, because they take a long time to produce. So all the data points seem to suggest that I goofed up on this one. That's another one of my failures. Anyway, so that's where we are. I know it's been a long time since I produced anything for the garden, but you can see everything is pretty much dormant. I have lost some apple trees, by the way. I've lost quite a few of them. I've had to remove them from the garden, and I'm slowly coming to the conclusion that this is not, well, I never thought it would be a very good environment for growing apples, but I don't think this is going to work. So as the apple trees die and they get removed, I am not replanting. I'm done. There's just too many trees in the garden, and it's too much work to keep track of all of them. So any tree that dies now is being uprooted, removed, and just that space left empty. I have too many trees anyway, so I need to thin them out a bit, and I'll keep the ones that survive and produce, and remove the ones that don't. Alrighty, guys, that concludes the video for today. I'll see if I can do some more videos for the channel later in the season, and post them so you guys can catch up on the progress of the garden. Definitely removing the honeybees. That was a fail. Let's be honest. That didn't work out. So other people keep honeybees just fine. It's just that I don't have the time the time to dedicate to them. I can't do that. They require a lot of effort, a lot of time to manage and keep track of, and I got a bunch of other things going on. Apart from the garden, I have to also work and stuff like that, so I just don't have the time for it. If I only did honeybees, if I was only raising bees and not having to deal with the other garden stuff, then it wouldn't be a problem. But for now, I think I'm done with the bees. All right, guys, signing off. Have a good day. Bye. Okay, excuse me. Good morning, everyone. So, I'm sorry I didn't record the video when I was disassembling it, but I just remembered. I've been meaning to do this for some time now. I've deregistered myself as a Florida beekeeper, so I'm no longer certified to keep bees, and I'm disassembling the nest. This is actually the remains of what used to be a colony. You can see what a dead colony looks like. There's dried wax everywhere. All the honey's been robbed by other bees, and I'm okay with that because honestly, if I'm not going to keep bees, then I really don't want the honey. I didn't do this, or I didn't start doing this for the honey. I can buy honey really inexpensively at Costco. That's not my main motivation for this project. It was mostly to get the pollination services. So I figured if I'm not keeping bees anymore, then I'll do my best. But I'll let the wild bees have the honey, and it just helps them, survive, because we do need pollinators in the wild. So this is what you see. I mean, it's disassembled. There's not much in. There's some bees coming in and out, but they're just looking for. These are not the bees that actually live here. These are bees from another colony looking for whatever else they can steal from this hive. So that's where we're at. So you can see there was all kinds of sawdust on the bottom. I don't know what that is, honestly. Hold on, my shadow is blocking it. I don't know where that sawdust came from, but I'm guessing it's the wild bees chewing the inside. Maybe they were preparing to try and set up a new colony. But like I said, I'm no longer a registered Florida beekeeper, so I can't have a colony in the house, in my garden. So I'm not going to allow any bees to set up shop again in my garden. I actually want to reclaim the space anyway. But yeah, they had the sawdust, which I think is just the ground up interior of the hive that they were cleaning in preparation for their own, for when the bees swarm and the hive splits off and forms a new hive. I think they were looking for a home. They were preparing to look for a home. So I don't want them. I don't want a colony here anymore. I'm not registered to have it, so I'm following Florida rules, and I'm disassembling the colony and putting it into storage. So there you have it. This colony, this hive here, never was actually occupied. It's empty. I'm also going to take that down. I'm going to put it inside the my storage shed, and I'm going to disassemble these cinder blocks. I'm going to take them out of here, and I'm going to take the woods and the 2x4s here. Sorry, I think these are 6x6s. I'm going to use these 6x6s for something else. I have a freezer coming in, a chest freezer that I bought specifically for hunting wild game and things like that. That's what I want it for. And it's a 6-foot long chest freezer. Sorry, 5-foot long. 66 inches and 30 inches wide and 33 inches tall. So it's a big 22 cubic foot chest freezer. And I'm going to set it on these things right here to raise it above the ground. Because I'm going to have it in the door just outside my my house door. I have like a little patio area. I'm going to put it there, and I want to raise it above the ground so when it rains it doesn't get wet or anything like that. Yes, it'll be covered. There's a screen roof and some other stuff there, so it'll be protected. I just don't want such a big thing inside my house. I already have a couple freezers in the house already. I don't have room for any more. So anyway, that's the plan for today. I'm disassembling the hive, and I'll keep the camera rolling so you guys can see my activities. But I probably won't be saying much because I don't have a microphone attached to me. And I've noticed that when you don't have a microphone, the quality of the sound is not very good. So I'm going to take off my, I don't know if I should take off my face covering or not. Probably should. See Yeah, I'm gonna keep my face covering on because there's still a couple bees hanging out here, and I don't want them here, to be honest with you. And I don't trust them. These are wild animals. They're not pets. They're certainly not tame. So don't assume that they won't attack you. Assume that they will. And be safe. Protect yourself accordingly. Scrape this down. You see, that's the wax. Oh, there's still a little honey in there. It's okay. There can't be much left anyway. Just a teeny tiny bit in the bottom there. Generally speaking, the bees are not aggressive unless they're protecting their own hive. So because this is not their hive yet, they don't attack as much. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. Like I just told you earlier, not to assume that they won't attack, but I'm less inclined to feel threatened by them because it's not really their home yet. If they moved in and you did this while they were trying to set up shop, you'd be in trouble. So if I see fewer and fewer of these, if I see them, the stragglers, if they leave, then I'll take off my mask so I can work more comfortably. I don't like working in these bee suits. They're uncomfortable. I'm going to store these inside the house. Not inside the house, but inside the little porch area. They're still hanging out here. They don't want to leave. Yeah, they're still pissed. The robber bees are like saying, "What are you doing in my house? Stop it. This is my home." Oh, not your home yet, guys. Yeah, they're not happy at all. Some of them are probably confused. What's going on? What happened? I had this wonderful apartment ready to go, and all of a sudden it's gone. Who took my apartment? For those of you who are actually looking to move into an apartment or a home, given the current situation with inflation and the pandemic, I'm sure you realize that everything has gone up in price ridiculously recently. So, home buying, home renting is the roof. The prices are through the roof. So, you can sympathize with these little guys. How they must feel. Yeah, I need a spot. I need a good home, and you're taking it away from me. Sorry, guys, but state of Florida rules. I cannot continue to keep bees in my garden. Not my rules, their rules. And besides, I really don't have the room for it anyway. I need the space. I need to clear up the garden a little bit. There's too much junk in here. Now I got to figure out what to do with what kind of storage to put them in. Yeah, they're still running around. We don't like this at all. Let me move these guys first. I'll do them one at a time. This is the top honey super. Let me put it inside. I'll be right back. I just realized that I need to those cinder blocks. I need to get these cinder blocks moved because I need to disassemble everything else here. Let me go ahead and set this up so you can see what I'm about to do here. There's still some bees in there, but they're not aggressive, so I think I'm okay. the cinder blocks to basically raise the hives above the floor. All right, come on, frogs, lizards, go. 3 rides over. All right, when it rains, they don't get soaking wet, and the wood doesn't rot. And it will rain, guaranteed. It will rain here in the future. We'll get tons of rain. Florida is basically, used to be anyway, a wet capital of the world. This is the entrance reducer. Yeah, it's a bit dirty. No sounds in there, so there's no bees in there. Holy crap! There's no bees, but there's plenty of fire ants. Where the hell did they come from? Ain't that something, man? Shit. That explains where the ants were, where they were coming from. They're everywhere. The ants have occupied my beehive and turned it into their home. I can't really spray them with anything because that would kill, the residue could kill bees in the future. So my only recourse is to hose it down with water. Yeah, some of these frames are starting to fall apart. Crap. Shit. Nothing works well here. Every day there's a new problem. Every day there's a new problem. You know, if you're a person who can, who has the time to dedicate to this, it's actually pretty nice to have bees, but you have to be able to dedicate time and energy to keeping them alive and keeping them healthy, and it's not something that I can do. I didn't realize that until I actually started doing it, that it requires more time and effort than I was willing to spend on it. Because I got a lot of other things going on. You know, I have to fertilize this garden every year. I have to prune the trees. Besides that, I have my own 24/7. Not 24/7, but I have my own work schedule. I have a job, a 9-to-5 job that I gotta pay attention to. That I gotta make sure that I give that priority. So it's just a pain. I don't have the time. All right, be right back. One colony down. Second one to go. Just make sure there are no ants in here, or roaches or anything like that. So one of these frames is falling apart. I think it's this one. Yeah, you see? This thing never had any bees in it, so I don't understand. I guess it's shoddy craftsmanship. understand why this happened. Shouldn't have happened. I'll have to take care of that later. I'll deal with this problem later. I don't want to deal with it now. Yeah, they're not happy. They hear me, what's going on? What did you do to my colony? Oh, it's time. I'm just trying to shake off any of those fire ants that remain. Fucking roach. I hate roaches. I've always hated them. Damn chickens. I wish I had chickens. When I was a kid, I used to have chickens in my garden. Chickens would take care of these things in no time. Bastards. I hate roaches. The most gruesome insect I've ever seen. They say it's the only insect that'll survive a nuclear war. Because they breed so fast that each successive generation builds up a tolerance to radiation exposure. You might remember years ago, there was a movie on TV called Day After. It's in the 1980s, talking about what would happen in the world after a nuclear holocaust. One of the revelations was armor-plated roaches. They had evolved from radiation exposure and mutated so that they actually had armor plating. You couldn't step on them, you couldn't crush them. That's amazing. Alright, so I think that does it for this hive. Or this collection of boxes. There wasn't really ever a hive. Check it out. Yeah, there's nothing in there. Just moldy and mildewy. So this was a queen excluder that I had installed. Won't be needing that for a while. I bet my neighbors are happy about this too. I don't think they were too keen on the beehives. Although the beehives don't really bother anyone. Unless you directly threaten their nest, their hive, they don't care. The bees won't do anything to you. Unless you directly threaten. Or they want food or something like that. Remember a couple years ago, or a year ago, they were the honey flow had stopped, and the bees were desperately looking for sugar, and I didn't realize that I was supposed to feed them, or when I was supposed to start feeding them. And so my neighbor was having a party next door, and you know, they had ketchup and jelly and all the other things outside, and a whole swarm of bees came out of the hive and started going after those food items. That ended the party pretty quickly, and boy was he pissed. He didn't say anything because I was legal, right? I had followed the law, I was registered, and I had the proper separation from the hive, from the border fences and everything. But he was still not happy because he was still. If your neighbors don't like it, or if they're afraid of it, or if it's a problem for them, is it worth setting up creating animosity between you and your neighbor simply to keep bees? I don't think it is. The last thing you want is a feud with your neighbors. So if this is a problem for your neighbors, even though it might be legal, you should give deference to their feelings and their concerns about these animals. And so what I did is I started thinking back in the middle of last year, late summer, that maybe this was going to be a problem, that I should probably remove them. So I knew I was already thinking about this process, that it was going to have to happen sooner or later, just because I don't want any problems with my neighbors. I'd rather keep a good relationship with my neighbors than have bees in the garden. So these 6x6s or 4x4s, these are the ones I'm going to use to prop up my chest freezer. So, very valuable pieces of lumber, by the way. Lumber's gone up in price dramatically during the pandemic. So this is a welcome reprieve from the expense of having to, start and finish projects in the garden. All right. And what I was after here was the cinder block. That's what I needed, because I'm going to use that cinder block to basically raise the hives in storage above grade, so that they don't get wet when it rains. And of course, there are all kinds of little critters here. Let me take this off. I think I can remove the protective gear at this point. Ah, cracky. I don't know where you're at, but it's kind of warm here in Florida, so I don't want to carry any more layers than I need to. Not trying to rub it in, by the way. Florida just happens to be a warm state. They're still here, but like I said, this is not their home, so they're not like being aggressive. Years ago, about the only time I can remember actually being stung by a bee, when it was nowhere near a hive, was years ago when I was driving through Citrus County. Not Citrus County, but Lee County in Florida, near Fort Myers on the west coast. I was driving through a citrus grove. There was a big highway running right through the center of it. And it was the middle of spring, and the trees were in bloom, and the bees had been brought in to pollinate. One of those bees happened to fly through the window of my truck, and slammed right into my shirt. And luckily it didn't hit my iron like that, but it slammed right into my shirt. And I looked down. I'm going 60 miles an hour, and this thing flies into the window. What are the chances, by the way? It slams into the shirt, and as I look down, its stinger is just about separating from its abdomen. It had stung my shirt and pulled apart. So they will sting outside of the nest or outside of the hive, but only if you threaten them, or if they feel like they're being threatened. It doesn't understand that it slammed into me and I didn't slam into it. But That's the only time I can remember when I've been stung or attempted to get stung, even though I wasn't anywhere near a hive. Yeah, they're still like, what's going on? Let me remove some of these cinder blocks. So I'm putting back the glove, putting the glove back on. There's one. There's two. Come on. And they're welcome in my garden anytime. If they can pollinate my trees, they can drink the nectar. And I don't want to hive. I don't want them setting up shop. I don't want to run over this with my lawnmower to damage the blades. All right, so I'm gonna start reassembling this other one over there. Be right back. Bottom board. Let's start with the bottom board first. Get the other pieces later. He's not happy at all. They're buzzing around me. They're not happy. I had a small piece of nail. Oh, there it is. This assembly, there's some little minor stuff to do, but it's not significant. You can see they're still hanging on. They smell. That bee's still floating around my suit because it smells the colonies have a distinct smell. They smell like pollen and have kind of a grassy smell. I think that's the smell of the queen. It remains on the stuff for a while. So it's gone. I gotta wash that suit, by the way. There you have it. This stuff I'll store later. This is my Meyer lemon tree. This is probably the best lemon I got. The best citrus I got. Doesn't look like much, but this is one of the best producers in my garden. I bought, in addition to the Meyer lemon, I also bought a key lime, which is not doing too well. So I think I should have bought more Meyer lemons. They're actually the ones that have actually produced the best. Eureka lemon has also done reasonably well, but they're heavy feeders. Citrus is heavy feeders, so they need a lot of food. I need to fertilize this probably in the near term. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and end the video because this is taking a long time already. Alright guys, I'll catch you later. Bye.